and somebody can help us type it. So we're going to vote on which one we should cover today. Okay, we'll all vote on which one we should cover today. Number one is fix and flip. Number two is land banking. Number three is rental property. Number four is real estate investment trust, or another word for real estate investment is called syndication, which is basically you're investing your money and you're just getting returns. You don't want to get involved in the busy process of doing real estate. So you can type your top three. Okay, type your top three, and I'm going to focus on that. So I could say fix and flip, I could say rental, REIT, and flipping by Grace. Who else? Just give me your top three, and that's what I can treat for now. You can get the rest in the book. Go get the book, it's on Amazon. Rental property, fix and flip, land banking. Okay. Somebody else is saying, who else? Let's see. I'm going to focus on the highest vote. Syndication, fix and flip, land banking. Okay, I can say everybody wants fix and flip. I don't, you guys, by the way, I hope you know fix and flip is one of the tallest type of business, right? Emmanuel from California, welcome. I hope we know. Fix and flip is one of the toughest one. Really, really toughest one. So, land banking, fix and flip, syndication, fix and flip, rental. Okay. Which one again? Let me see. Okay, so from what I'm seeing here, fix and flip, land banking, investment. So fix and flip is number one. Everybody wants fix and flip, so we're going to talk about that today. Number two, I'm seeing here is investment. Everybody wants investment. You don't want to do the dirty work before they call you out like they're calling me out. Okay. Nobody wants to do the dirty job, but people want to make the money. That's what I noticed. Okay. Everybody don't want to do the dirty job, but we want the money anyway. And so we're always looking for the scapegoat oftentimes. Somebody should do the dirty job, somebody should do the work. So I'm saying fix and flip, I'm saying land banking, I'm saying investment, and so I'm gonna do those three because those are the top three I've seen so far. Yeah, I think those are the top three I'm seeing you guys showing here that you guys want to focus on. So let's go ahead. Let's do the three. So I'm going to start with fix and flip. Mr. Farouk, you need to join the panelist and you need to get ready each of the videos that represent our fix and flip. I think we're going to look at Alabama. We're going to look at Valdosta, example of fix and flip. And then for land banking, we're going to look at Tidwell for land banking. We're going to look at Tidwell. And then for syndication, no, for land banking, let's look at our office, our current office, right? For land banking, we'll look at our current office. So we're going to play a video at some point to show you, because I want to make it practical. So I want to show you what we have currently done in those areas as well. While for, syndication, we look at Tidwell. Okay, syndication, we look at Tidwell. So let's go. Are we ready, guys? If you're ready, everybody, you're ready, just type, I'm ready, I'm ready. That's my job. Somebody say, please, can you explain land banking? We will do that. We just need to know which one we should focus the conversation on. You're in the class. I will take my time. I will break it down for you, so don't worry. Don't bother yourself. I got you. Okay, at least we have 1 hour together for you to learn and understand these businesses and the business model. So I like to start with fix and flip. Again, someone is saying what's syndication. Take your time. I will explain everyone one by one. So let's start with fix and flip. What is fix and flip? Fix and flip is basically the process of looking for property that is old, worn out property. And then your job is to fix that property and to then sell the property. So you're looking for a property that is bad, worn out, totally bad. You fix it and then you flip it. It's just the basic word. And so from the word fix and flip, right? Bad property, you're able to buy for next to nothing. Then you fix it and then you flip it. So there are a couple of principles around it. If you're going to do fix and flip, like I said, I'm teaching you from my latest book, The ABC of American Real Estate Investment, is on Amazon. You can go there and you can get it. So fix and flip. Number one, and I think that's very important when you want to do fix and flip. What are the things to look out for? Look for a property that is bad in a good neighborhood. Okay, let me say that again. Look for a property that is bad in a good neighborhood. You must understand that when it comes to real estate, it's location, location, location. And you must get the location right. If you don't get the location right, then you don't have a business. Location is very critical to the success of fix and flip. So everybody type location. Okay, location. So you want to get the right location when doing fix and flip. And so it's a bad property in a good location. Okay, it's an old property in a good location. And don't compromise on the location. And when we say location, we're not just focusing on, oh, it's a fancy neighborhood. That's not what we're talking about. We're saying, for example, what's the nearness to the airport, nearness to downtown. What are the key things that is showing that this is a neighborhood that is just on the rise, okay? In terms of valuation, in terms of potential. So that's the first thing you want to get right. Okay, get right. Number two, you need to find a desperate seller. Everybody type desperate seller. You need a desperate, another word is a motivated seller. Okay, everybody type motivated seller. So you need to look for a seller highly motivated. And what we mean by the concept of motivated seller, we're just saying that you're looking for a seller that is extremely inspired, extremely motivated, a seller that is hungry. And that's your core focus, hungry seller who is ready to make a move. Many times I've seen people make that mistake where we get sellers who are not hungry to sell. They are not motivated to sell. And so you go into a deal and then the negotiation will drag. And why do you need a motivated seller? If you get a motivated seller, you'll be able to negotiate good pricing, right? You want to be able to get the price as low as you can. And that only comes when you have a motivated seller. Okay, number three thing, which is part is very, very critical, is to have a very good general contractor. You must have a very good GC, a very good general contractor that understand the cost of fixing the property. Here's the secret to doing fix and flip. You want to be, by the way, if you have questions, just put it in the Q&A section, please. Your question should be in the Q&A section, as other people's comment will block it. And I'll take questions once I'm done with each of the business types. So if you don't have a good general contractor, first of all, you will start a project with the mindset that, okay, I need to fix this thing with $50,000. And then you end up fixing with $70,000. And that eats into your profit. Because the concept of fix and flip is that not only do you want to fix it, you want to be able to flip it on time. and you won't be able to fix it, flip it on time if you've spent too much to fix it, right? So what makes the property to also sell faster is that you spend so low to fix it, and you have so much resources at your disposal, so much resources that ultimately at the end of the day, the whole process of choosing to say, okay, you know what, I'm going to flip it, even if people are negotiating a bit low, because you were able to spend so low in fixing it, you will still be able to sell it. So, e.g., you bought the property for $75,000. You fix it with what? With $50,000. That gives us a total of what? Can anybody give me the number? Total of what? I want to be sure you guys are following. I bought the property for $75,000. I fix it with $50,000. What is my total cost? Okay, $125,000. Okay, now if the new price, the cost of doing everything is $125,000, but property in that area is now selling for $200,000. What this meant was that I was really able to fix it for a very low price. And what the advantage of that is that even if you're offering me $190,000, I will still sell, because in my mind, at $190,000, I'm still making a profit of $65,000, and that's a good one. Number four, under fix and flip, make sure that the seller, and this is very critical, that the seller is having to sell it at and I think this is very important. The general contractor is able to do it fast. So you need strong recommendation. What other project has this general contractor done before? What is the proof that this general contractor can get these things done and do it well and do it fast and do it quick? All that is very critical and very important. You need a general contractor that can do it quick. In fact, I would rather prefer a general contractor charge me higher. Remember, I'm also telling you to try to get a general contractor that can charge good pricing, but I would prefer he's charging me a higher amount, okay, and he's finishing the project on time than a lower amount, and I am having to do what? Spend ridiculous amount of money. Okay. I'm having to wait for a longer time. So I'll give you a breakdown of what I'm saying. If you bought the property, like we said earlier, for $75,000, you fix it for $50,000, and then you're able to do the fixing in 3 months, right? In 3 months, they were done with the fixing, and in another 1 month, whether you use the auction model to sell it, or you decide to put it in the market, and you have a 30-day closing or 60-day closing. So we give it another 2 months. So you're able to then sell the property, flip it in another 2 months after renovation. This is total of 5 months now that it took you between buying it, renovating it, and selling it. 5 months. Now, is this better compared to you're able to buy it for $75,000? You got a general contractor who was able, right, to say he would fix it for even as low as $30,000. That bringing your total cost to $105,000. So you've saved $20,000. But this contractor took 9 months to fix the property. 9 months. Meaning, by the time you need to sell the property, you have spent a whole year. Now, I want you to tell me which one is better. Okay, I want an answer. Which one is better? I'm having a seller who is able to make moves and is able to, sell, a general contractor will be able to fix it on time in 3 months. I'm able to sell it in 2 months. So 5 months, I'm done with the deal. I'm looking for the next deal, meaning I can practically do 2 deals in a month. Do you see the advantage here? And if I'm doing 2 deals in a month and I'm making $65,000 on each deal, right? What happens? I have made over $100,000 in 1 year. compared to making $65,000, making no. This one means you are making $85,000, but you're making the $85,000 for a whole year. When you could make over $120,000 in a whole year. So these are some of the very, very important things to look out for when you're doing fix and flip. Speed is of essence. Speed is very, very important and very, very critical. Are we getting value, by the way? If you're getting value, tap, I'm getting value, I'm getting value, I'm getting value. I'm learning, and feel free to share and invite more people to this class. Feel free, invite more people to come learn. So that's that for fix and flip. Now you've been able to get a good general contractor. The next phase is now the property is ready. You need to flip it. Now in flipping, my advice, like I said earlier, is it is better to flip it at a lower price, making a lower profit margin, but you flip it on time. Okay, then you are saying, no, I must get the right value for it. The property, this location, property is selling for $200,000. If nobody is buying for $200,000, I'm not going to sell. I would rather sell at 190 or 180 and move on to the next deal than drag the entire process. Are we learning? If you're learning, just type, I'm learning, I'm learning, I'm learning. Okay, again, I would rather sell at a lower margin than keep it longer. Okay, than keep it longer. So I will take your question at this point on fix and flip. What's your question? If you want more, go learn in the book. There's a book for you. So I have Ike Ocha says, what age range or year build should you have concern on structure or foundation issues on the property? Well, remember we're talking about fix and flip. So your focus, and that's why I said the neighborhood is critical, because sometimes when you look at the neighborhood, you are looking at, okay, if I fix this thing, how much will I be able to sell? Because how much are other properties selling in this area? Those are more of your concern, really. Because it's not about the age of the property in terms of fix and flip. Your job is to fix it anyway and flip it anyway, right? So it may be the most horrible property that you need to almost get everything out of the way, and it's almost as if you're rebuilding it. What is just important is the numbers, because you need to have a GC that can help you do the numbers. So the job of your GC is to say, look, all that it will cost us to fix this thing, okay, is X. And then you can then do your analysis to say, okay, if I'm fixing it for X, and then property like this, 3 bedroom in this location sells for this, okay, these are the kind of profit I can make. That's how you do your calculation. So it's not necessarily much of what year was the property built and all those kind of stuff. It's more of when it's fixed, how much will I be able to sell it versus how much will it cost me to build it. I hope it makes sense. So someone said, what's the title of the book? Is ABC of American Real Estate Investment, Dr. Stephen Akintayo. ABC of American Real Estate Investment, Dr. Stephen Akintayo is on Amazon. Or you can go to my website, store.stephenakintayo.com. Any more question? Let me see if we have more question on this before I go to number 2, business model. We're teaching you on investment in real estate market, right? How to do investment here in the US. Yeah, Mega Odum says I'm getting value. Good to know, Mega. Yes. Any more question? Should we go to the next business model? Okay. Any more question on fix and flip? Okay. Any more question on fix and flip? Any more question on fix and flip? Okay. If you don't have any more question, just type, I'm ready. Let's go to number 2. But before we go to number 2, I want to play a video of one of the fix and flip we did. If IT is ready, with a partner of ours here in the US, and it was a 20 unit of townhouse, 20-unit townhouse in Valdosta in the state of Georgia. 20-unit townhouse, and ITU can play it. And it was bought and then flipped. And what we did, and this is also a very critical aspect of it, you must prepare to rent out, okay, the property immediately, because you may not also be able to find a willing buyer. And the advantage of being able to rent out the property is that even if it takes a longer time to get a buyer, there's cash flow. You're already having cash flow on that property. Okay, there's enough cash flow on the property. So go ahead and play the video.
The washing machines and some drawers to keep your soap and all that. Beautiful.
This toilet, serving, I think 2 rooms.
Okay. So this could be like the children's room or visitors room. Yeah. 3-bedroom townhouse, 4 walk-in closet and 2 mini walk-in closets. In the house, I will be particular about the primary bedroom because that's what I love. The major space. Said it's $250,000.
Yes.
Which in Nigeria is 250 million naira.
Yeah.
Aside from buying to live, if you want to live, what are the other opportunities that you get having in this house, in this environment?
One of the major category of people that we think should invest in this kind of house are investors. People who are doing this because they need access to dollars. You buy a house like this, the current rent is $1,400. And I brought, with me, ladies and gentlemen, no longer doctor, now Professor Helen Paul.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you,
doctor. With your many AKs.
Plenty.
What do you think about Valdosta, by the way? This is your first time?
It's my first time in Valdosta and I love it. It's very quiet, good family environment. I love the fact that it's mixed neighborhood.
Yeah.
It's not just a particular neighborhood. You can kind of say, okay, it's all this color, it's all this country, everybody's together. Yeah. So I love it here.
We're doing this virtual open house for you. And the goal is to show you both the internal side of the 3-bedroom, and then we'll still go out to show you the outside. So this is the living room, and it has an open kitchen.
Okay, so the kitchen is next to the garage. Okay, so from the garage straight to the kitchen. So that's it.
Okay, how many of you enjoyed that video? So one unique thing about that one, by the way, we still have some units available. By the way, Farouk, can you send me those 2 videos? I want to post it up. I need my draggers to see some properties they want. If they can afford it, why not? They should come and buy. Okay. It's all about affordability. If they can afford it, let them come and buy. Very, very important. But very, very key, as far as I'm concerned, is that what we did with this property is that it's fully rented, right? So and it's also a value you're giving your customer, right? What do I mean by value you're giving your customer? For your customer, they will be able to, take and I see it from that aspect. They will be able to take advantage. They will be happy knowing that there's already a tenant. Because when I'm buying a property from you and I don't yet have a tenant, I'm worried because before I then, be able to get tenants, the marketing to get who will rent the property, all of that. So many times people love to buy properties that already has tenants. You are just transferring the rental income to them. So make sure that you have an arrangement in place when you're doing fix and flip, that immediately you fix it, you get tenants into the property. So even if it then takes a little longer to get a buyer, you're at least generating cash flow. Remember, you may have mortgage on this now. We've not even talked about the financing aspect of real estate investment in America. And I think I'm coming up with a masterclass of real estate investment in America, and I want to focus a lot about the investment part of it, the getting funding and stuff like that. But it's very, very important that you are conscious of this aspect. It's a very, very critical part. Somebody's asking, does someone say fox and flip apply to Nigeria? I didn't say fox and flip, fix and flip. Oh Lord have mercy. Okay, it's fix and flip. And the answer is yes. It applies to anywhere in the world. You can do fix and flip anywhere in the world, really. It's just basically you're looking for old properties, you're fixing the property, and you're selling the property. So this particular one is a good one, and we have it available. We have some units still available to sell in state of Georgia, Valdosta, Georgia, and anybody wants to invest, they are free. Farouk, am I correct? $250,000 for the middle ones. The ones at the edge is $275,000. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, that's very correct.
Okay, beautiful. So which email can they reach out to? info@GTEXUSA or where?
Yes, info@gtexhomeusa.com. I'll type it now.
Okay. So if you want to buy, why not? But for the purpose of the class, I am just taking my time to show you some of what we have also done. So you can see that this is not just a motivational speech. And for those who are angry that I charge $20,000, I don't know what they are talking about, because the kind of lessons you're going to learn from me in 1 year, you've made a lot more, right? And for the rest of your life is an invaluable lesson. Now, how many of you agree with me that even this free class is really, really valuable for you? Okay? How many of you? Also, can somebody confirm? Okay. Also, can somebody confirm for me about somebody confirm for me if I need the email. You're not posting the email. Okay, the email is info@gtexhomeusa.com. So you can send a mail if you want to make inquiry. But back to my conversation, it's important to know that the value you're getting, even this one you're getting for free, you hardly will get such for free. These are things you have to pay for, to get. But we're making it available for free because it's not just about money, it's also about adding value, right? Of course, I want to make money, but I also want you to get value. That's very important to me. So are we ready for number 2, business model? Okay, for ready. Are we streaming now on Instagram? Can they confirm if we're streaming now on Instagram? Okay, I'm told we're streaming also on Instagram. That's fine. Again, feel free, like we said, to invite people to join this conversation. Like I said, I want as many people as possible to see it and be able to learn from it. Farouk, can you also check if they're streaming on Instagram and other platforms? So let's go to number 2. If you're ready for number 2 business model, just type I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready. Number 2 is land banking in the US. Just like anywhere in the world, you can buy land when it is cheap. when it's not yet developed, and you can sell. You can buy, you can sell. And this model for me is very, very important, as far as I'm concerned. Very, very important. Okay. So what is land banking? Can anybody guess what is land banking? Okay. What is land banking? Can anybody guess? What is land banking? Buying land and keeping it for the future sale. Okay. Who else? What is land banking? I want to read your comments as well. I love a very interactive class when I do, I love very engaging students. What is land banking? Land banking is a practice of buying, okay, massive long-term strategy. Investors wait for land over time. Okay, somebody says investing in high potential land, allow time to drive up the value and sell. Beautiful. So I've seen very good answers defining what land banking really is. I'll go further to break it down for you. Land banking is the process of land aggregation for the purpose of investment or development. And that's the definition I like the most. Land banking is the process of land aggregation for the purpose of investment or development. So basically, you're buying land and then you are adding, and why we use the word aggregation is because there are lands I buy. Maybe the first time I bought it, um, it was just a portion, and then over time, it continues to increase in number, right? So it's the process of land aggregation for the purpose of investment or development. And I want you to know that when it comes to land banking, there are two pathways. I buy a land, I keep it for some years. I see there's value in it. I can then sell it, and that's the option of investment. But I can also keep it for some years and develop it. Keep it for some years and develop it. And this is very, very important. And for me, one of the most powerful things that I see when it comes to this whole land banking conversation is that, and this is very, very critical. One of the very important things I see with the land banking conversation is that if you are smart, you will do both the two together on the same land. And that's the unique thing with us at GTEx. What we try to do is a unique model to say, when we buy land, we'll buy it, keep it for a while, and we'll sell some of it. And we'll also develop some of it. Okay? So we try to divide our lands into two. Half of it we're going to sell so that we make some money. Half of it we're going to develop in the future. So sometimes I laugh when I get all this, oh, you've not built houses enough, you've not done this, so how many estate have you finished? First of all, you that you are talking, hey, do you even have 1 acre? And it's funny how your enemies are not even 1% your size, and they're still telling you that your size is too small. Do you see how bullies can be funny? A bully is not 1%, okay, as good as you are, but is questioning how good you are. It doesn't just make sense at all. Your energy should be to try and, how many of you agree with me? Shouldn't your energy be to say, can I also do something with my life? Isn't it? But you see, when I then descend into I'm not doing anything with my own life, guys. My life is a mess. But no, 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 your life is not good enough. I'm just here to prove to you that your life is not good enough. That shows that there's some mental health somewhere. Okay? Will you agree with me? Okay? That shows that there's some mental health somewhere. There's definitely some mental health somewhere. Because when I see people who have done what I haven't done, rather than criticize anything, I want to focus my energy to say, wow, can I do my own version? Of course, maybe my own version would be a lot better. Maybe my own version would be a lot smarter, and I'm just going to make some adjustments. But I admire that this person is way ahead of me. This person is doing something I'm not even able to do yet. Okay, so our model at GTEX Homes is to say we're going to buy lands. When we then do land banking model, right? We're going to buy land. We're going to sell half of it to other people who are interested in also doing land banking, right? And so that we have keeping the land 50% of it. Those who do land banking with us are also keeping 50% of it. I hope we're learning here. And together, we are all able to move into the future together. And that may take us another 10 years before we start building, or 20 years before we start building. But we know what we're in for. And that is how we do land banking. And you can do that. Now, you can choose not to do what I'm doing, where you just buy the land and after 5 years, you flip the entire thing. Or you just buy a land, after some years, you develop the entire thing. It's up to you which model you want to do. But one of our best business model is called land banking. It's worked for me over the years. Is what has allowed us to scale like this without having enough capital. In 15, 17 years, we've not borrowed a dime in the Nigerian business landscape. We've not borrowed a dime. And so all we've had to constantly invest in is to leverage on being able to say, okay, we're going to buy land. And some of the lands we're even partnering with the seller. Some of the land we're buying it outright. But it's been a model that has worked, and only a fool doubts proof. Do you agree? Only fools doubt proofs. Only fools doubt proofs. Only fools doubt proofs. However, also in doing land banking, you could be clever enough to say, what value can I be generating from this same land while the land value keeps going up till I'm ready to do development on it, right? What value can be accruing? Okay, what value can be accruing while I work on, the fact that I'm keeping the land for a long time and it's going to go up. So you could farm on the land while you're waiting. For example, here in Texas, it is cheaper. In fact, once you get agricultural exemption, tax, instead of paying as high as $100,000 on a 100-acre property, you'll be paying as low as $1,000. Can you imagine that? So you could just say, hey, I'm going to farm on it. I'm going to lease it out to a farmer, get agric exemption. That way I'm not paying ridiculous tax. Alternatively, you could, in the model we're going to be showing you very soon, it could be a land where you say, you know what, we're going to build an office complex so that we have an office somewhere, and we're going to leave the rest for future. And then in future, when we have the resources, we're going to develop it, right? So that is how land banking works. I hope we learned from this. Do we understand land banking now? If you understand, type I understand. If you don't understand, just say I don't understand. The same way in the bank. You go put your money in the bank. You've banked it. That's why this time around you're banking land. You're keeping land for a long time for the value of the land to rise. And it's a sweet business model. Arinze Aman Nekwe says, what advice do you have for students in the US interested in real estate? Well, being a student does not limit your ability to do investments, and that's what you need to understand. Being a student limits your ability to work, but not investments. It doesn't limit your ability to do business. It doesn't limit your ability to do investment. And that's why some of the biggest, billionaires in America started when they were on campus. That's why some of them are even dropouts. Okay. Because it was while they were on campus, they started business. And if you ask me what's my advice to a lot of students, start a business. I started my business on campus as well, right? Start a business. There's nothing as powerful as starting your business. Nothing as powerful as that. It is huge. So I hope I've answered you. Being a student does not in any way, right, stop you from doing a business. It doesn't. Okay, any more question? Okay, while Farouk, can we go ahead and play the second video we have? So this one shows our current office here in the US. Okay. And so a portion of it is an office, while another portion of the same place is left for land banking. And we're hoping that in 3 or 5 years' time, we'll build another massive, we're hopefully going to get a permit and build a massive co-working space, which is the goal that we have for the place. You can play it IT if you have that. If you have questions, remember on this land banking and how land banking work and how you can try land banking, you can go ahead and put it in the Q&A section, and I'm going to give you an answer. So Ike Ocha question is, in the process of land aggregation, what model have you seen that yield the best result? Best leverage, outright purchase, or partnership with the owner? Good question. Oh, I think the only student I have in this class is Chukwuka, and I think it's because he's from the eastern part of Africa who have natural instinct towards business, okay? So one of the things I noticed about the trolling that took place last week about me charging $18,000 for coaching, I realized that it was actually more from people from my side, right? There were more, I'm from the Yoruba ethnic part of Nigeria, and it was more from the Yoruba ethnic part. I'm not surprised because the the Yoruba ethnic tribe wants to be professors, want to be accountants, wants to be white collar, right? It is the Igbo ones that want to be entrepreneurs, right? I didn't get much trolling from the Igbo ones, and so I'm not surprised. The only person who's engaging me in this class, amongst those who are Nigerians, we have others who are not Nigerians anyway in this class, but the ones who are engaging me more amongst the Nigerians, right? The only Nigerian engaging me as much as possible is Chukwuemeka. So, and I like the question is asked, and it's an important question that you need an answer for. But IT, if you have the video, play it, then I answer after the video, right? IT, do you have the question? IT. And somebody says they are jealous and suffering from inferiority complex. Uh, you know, so I thought Farouk, do you have that? Right, we had a video with a drone from the office. I think I started from inside the office, came out, and we had drone footage. Do you have it, Farouk?
We'll play it later in the class. I think it's quite heavy, so they're unable to load it up. We'll try and shrink it down.
So how many minutes do you need?
Maybe after the next one, we'll play.
Oh, it's taking that long? Okay, move fast on it. You already have an idea of what you're also going to play for the next one, so please move fast on it. But let me take your question. So I think it depends on the partner you're dealing with, okay? There are certain partners that really, really are good partners. And it also is important to have a very good contract in place, right? At what point do we flip? How do we flip it? What is the approach? Um, you know, and that is very, very critical. You want to structure it in a very proper way. But sometimes I agree with you that the outright purchase can give you a lot of peace of mind because hey, I'm done. I've I've gotten it. It's out of the way. Because human beings can be complex and really, really complex, and anything can happen. But if you're good at mastering relationship, you can manage relationship well. I think partnership is easier, and sometimes also where you are. If you have all the money to do outright, then do outright. If you don't have all the money to do outright, and you may need to start, okay, with a partner, go ahead. I do both. Okay, I do both, but I can tell you that truly I do more of outright than I do partnership because I'm also very careful. And even when I do partnership, it's usually more of maybe a long-term agreement on the payment, right? So I could go into partnership and say, hey, dear seller, okay, I will need to pay you all the money in another 1 year. Okay, but I'm allowed to go ahead and sell and get investors into this deal. Okay, and if the seller agrees, we're in business together, so I do that as well. So best leverage equals to highest return on cash invested. So what's your advice for someone starting out, rental property for cash flow or land banking? Well, my first advice would be go for training. This that we're doing is not, and that's why. So this is the biggest problem of many of us, right? We think that because I've trained you like this, maybe I'm giving you 2 hours of my time. It means you know it all. You won't know it all. I've just given you direction. And so what you then need over time, you will still have challenges as you start this process. So you then need what we call mentorship, right? Because with a mentor, it then means is a continuous support. For example, I've seen people just come into my WhatsApp and say, hey, Dr. Steven, I've started this project. I'm stuck. Can you help me? I'm like, hey, that's not how this works. I have my life to live. Okay. I don't owe you. I'm not your politician. I don't owe you, don't owe me. So you don't have the right to just think I owe you mentorship. It's better to settle a formal mentorship relationship. It could be by service, it could be by payment, and there's nothing wrong with it. In fact, because of this backlash, I've made up my mind. I'm going to set up a proper mentorship program for Americans, right? I charge now $25,000 for my one-on-one mentorship. We have session once a month. But do you have a skill and you're a resident in America? Okay, you have a skill, then fine. You could say, Dr. Steven, I'm an architect. I know you do a lot of real estate. I will offer you my architectural skills, in America. I'm a licensed architect in America. I offer you my architectural skill. You mentor me on how you build wealth from nothing, right? I'll be glad. All I'm saying is value for value. And I've taught it in my book, The Billionaire Habits. Real mentorship is win-win. And that's when you won't feel used, they won't feel used, right? Because it's win-win. You also, those mentorship, you have good self-esteem. You don't feel like you are the slave of the mentor. Yes, you may not offer as much as the mentor is giving you because through mentorship, there's so much big gain. But the benefit of mentorship is that when you look at the fact that I'm also contributing something, it helps your self-esteem, okay, in growing that relationship with that mentor. So it's very powerful, and don't ever joke with this that you must bring something to the table when you're looking for mentorship. You have to bring something to the table. And for me, that's one of the things I've done with those who are my mentors. And that's why sometimes I laugh when some people, I've seen situations where people will say, I'm good, let's go and report him to one of his mentors. And I'm like, I don't understand. Because some of them think that I'm a parasite to the mentor and they will just, you'll be shocked that the mentor already knows how I do my business. The mentor understands, and I'm also valuable to the mentor. I've seen situations where I say, tell the mentor not to associate with him again. You have no idea, okay, how deep the relationship is. And that's the point we're saying. Because if there is no value in it, are we learning here? In the course of doing business, you will run into trouble. And if you didn't build a win-win relationship, why should a mentor be on your, stand by you, okay, in your most vulnerable moment? You've never added value. You've just been taking and taking and taking, right? So very important. Please make sure your mentorship relation is win-win, because ultimately you make money. Forget, in one of the testimonies in Doha that my mentee was sharing, in 1 year, this man said his move, the last valuation they did, they already worth 2.5 billion in less than 1 year. And he didn't account for other expansion they had in less than 1 year of mentorship. And then somebody think that it's too much for me to ask for $20,000 for such. I'm turning you to a multi-millionaire in dollars, and it's wicked for me to demand some of that, and you will never. Now, out of his 2.5 billion, is he giving me anything? No, it's his business. But to enter the door, to make sure it's a healthy relationship, and if you pay attention. You will not value, some of you will not take advantage of what I'm teaching you today because you didn't pay for this class. And I've made up my mind, once in the next few, and I mean it, I'm even announcing it officially, and whoever will drag me will drag me officially from, I think this month, from June. I'm no longer doing free training, whether it's virtual, whether it's physical, never again. No more free training. If you want free training, then invite me as a church, as an organization. I'll come. And then, of course, you'll pay for me to speak. And you can then subsidize and make it free for your participant. But no more free training. Because it's the reason why we're not making progress. Everybody just wants something for free. And anything of value comes at a cost. I didn't know this for free. I paid both in training and in experience to know what I know about land banking. True of us. Okay, so what are the major risks associated with land banking? Paul is asking. The risk of obstruct investors' drive for their business. I don't know what you mean by the risk of obstruct investors' drive for their business. I don't know what you mean by that. But the first part of your business, there's a lot associated with it. Number one is that there is investors' fatigue. So some of your investors can get fatigued because yes, they knew what they were coming in for. It was land banking, but at some point they will be like, any rumor can pop up, right? And say, hey, those lands are not legit, or somebody can Google anything, and so it prones you to that, fact that if you have, particularly if you do it at a large scale like I'm doing, anybody can drop a rumor and your investors are scared. But aside that is that there could also be fatigue where they've been on the property for like, 3 years or so, and they want to give up. Now, legally, they can't hold you, but many of them may want to blackmail you. And so you have to be conscious of that particular aspect of things. You also have what the risk of permits, right? So you may go into a land banking deal thinking, you know what, I'm doing this land banking, maybe max in 3 years I get permits, and the permit can take 5 years, right? And there's cost, particularly in the US, for holding a land, except you take the agri exemption, because you are going to pay tax, you're going to pay all of this. And in many cases, you may, except you buy it outright, then you have peace of mind. So in some cases, it may be a mortgage where you're dropping 200%, You take institutional investment for the remaining 80%. So all of these are factors that are critical to consider. And then next is what do you do to secure your land banking model, particularly when government policies are not constant? Well, have multiple options, and that's back in Africa. In here, I'm teaching for US. So today's class is more for US. So government policies are very stable in America. So you don't have that problem. But in Africa, you want to have multiple locations so that you have options. And that's what we have done. So if there's a challenge with this particular property here, you have options to move people to another. Olayemi says, what do you do to seek? Don't know, I've answered that. It seems everybody has so much question for land banking. NGOs are beginning to diversify funding sources because of limited foreign aid. How can an NGO into the real estate and land investment does Selecta Foundation partner with other NGOs on SDG? Training wise, yes, we do. We partner with other NGOs when it comes to training, but not necessarily for investment. We just focus on education and training and things like that. Uh, you're right, NGO funding is going down and down. Under Trump, you're not going to get a dime from the US. But in diversification, you can invest in real estate. I tell people that every business is a real estate business. Let me say that again. Every business is a real estate business, and you need to know that. I'll repeat it. Every business is a real estate business. So if I'm into an NGO, I want to invest massive landed property. I want to build housing units. I want to build a hub, and we can be leasing the hub and making returns from leasing of the hub. There's so much that you can do. A whole lot that you can do in those aspects. Larry says, what's your ROI for 15,000 a year investment? So first of all, we don't have a year investment anymore. We have 18 months investments, and so you have to do 18 months and your capital has to be with us for 3 years. And the return